Welcome to Unscripted Buzz. In today's video, we're diving into the life of one of history's most iconic leaders, Winston Churchill. While his steadfast leadership during World War II has been immortalized in history books and countless portrayals on screen, have you ever wondered what happened to Churchill after the war ended? A brand new Netflix documentary miniseries, Churchill at War, explores his incredible journey during and after the war. Let's unpack this riveting story and uncover the lesser-known chapters of Churchill's post-war life. Winston Churchill became the leader of the opposition in 1945. World War II officially ended on September 2, 1945, just months after Winston Churchill lost the general election to Clement Attlee, who became the new Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Although Germany had already surrendered in May of that year, Churchill's Conservative Party was defeated, and he transitioned to the role of leader of the opposition. Despite the setback, Churchill's influence endured, particularly through his exceptional skills as an orator. During this period, Churchill became increasingly vocal about his concerns over the Soviet Union and the spread of communism. In March 1946, less than a year after the war's conclusion, he delivered his famous Iron Curtain speech in the United States, warning of the growing divide between the Western world and the Soviet sphere. His efforts to promote global vigilance and maintain peace earned him recognition, and he was eventually re-elected as Prime Minister. Churchill at War explores the complexities of this phase in his life, including the controversy surrounding his warnings about the Soviet Union. The documentary reveals how Churchill's outspoken stance earned him accusations of being a warmonger, echoing criticisms he faced during World War II. Adding depth to this narrative, former U.S. President George W. Bush makes an appearance, reflecting on Churchill's good versus evil worldview and its potential to provoke strong reactions. Churchill was elected as the Prime Minister in 1951. In 1951, Winston Churchill returned as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom after Clement Attlee's Labour Party lost the general election. This second and final term lasted until 1955, when Churchill resigned, largely due to concerns about his age and declining health. Despite these challenges, Churchill's influence during this period remained significant both at home and on the global stage. During his tenure from 1951 to 1955, Churchill worked to ease the growing tensions of the Cold War and strengthen the special relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom. Simultaneously, he faced a rapidly changing global landscape as countries across the world fought for independence from colonial powers. Churchill at War does not shy away from examining the complexities of Churchill's responses to these movements. The documentary highlights the contradictions in his views, such as his fierce opposition to German aggression, contrasting with his steadfast commitment to preserving the British Empire. These conflicting stances reveal the intricate and often controversial nature of Churchill's leadership during this transformative era. Churchill's 1955 resignation explained. Concerns about Winston Churchill's age and health loomed large during his second term as Prime Minister. At 77 years old when he returned to office, many questioned his capacity to handle the demands of leadership. These fears intensified after Churchill suffered a stroke in 1953, following a series of earlier health scares. Although the stroke did not force his immediate resignation, it marked the beginning of the end for his time in office. Ultimately, Churchill stepped down as Prime Minister on April 5, 1955, citing health reasons. True to form, however, Churchill's resignation did not signal his retreat from public life. A lifelong servant of the United Kingdom, he continued to engage in politics and public discourse, leaving an indelible mark even after his tenure as leader had ended. How Churchill remained involved in politics and foreign affairs after his resignation. After stepping down as Prime Minister, Winston Churchill continued to serve as a Member of Parliament, remaining in this role until 1964, just a year before his death. However, as his health declined and his age advanced, his political presence diminished, particularly in his final years. While Churchill still contributed to government, his appearances became increasingly rare. Churchill's decision to remain active in politics well into his 80s, despite significant health challenges, underscores his unwavering commitment to the United Kingdom. His enduring influence extended far beyond British borders, cementing his status as a globally revered statesman. In recognition of his extraordinary life and service, Churchill was honored with a state funeral following his death in January 1965, a tribute befitting one of the most iconic figures of the 20th century. Winston Churchill's 1965 death and lasting legacy explained. As Churchill at War highlights, Winston Churchill's impact on history is immeasurable. When he passed away in 1965, the immense significance of his life was reflected in his state funeral, attended by Queen Elizabeth II, a rare honor that underscored the depth of his influence. Decades later, Churchill remains one of the most iconic and influential figures in modern history. The documentary also delves into a thought-provoking question: what might the outcome of World War II have been without Churchill's leadership? It suggests that Churchill's unwavering resolve was pivotal in stopping Hitler and Nazi Germany. Positioned as the driving force behind the United Kingdom's continued resistance against overwhelming odds, the film reinforces wartime rhetoric that Churchill was the one leader Hitler truly feared. Whether or not one believes Churchill single-handedly altered the course of the war, his role as a transformative orator, politician, and leader is undeniable. Churchill at War captures this legacy with depth and nuance, showcasing the extraordinary achievements of a man who helped shape history during one of its most tumultuous periods.